Hello, everybody, and
Oh.
and welcome to People's Exhibit, the only show in the known universe that has not made the switch to digital. My name is Andrew Dars, and this over here is a guy I went to the pub with once, Ed Hicks.
Hello. Never left the pub actually.
He's the landlord of the pub.
Dear God.
So that's the term, right? Pub landlord.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
excellent.
Although it is, just, I suppose I later found out that that comedian was actually satire because I never bothered to check for years. I was like, oh, people like that guy, and it was actually someone taking the piss out of idiots. So then I felt bad, but also better.
Because he looks like, I can agree. He looks like oh, he's probably loving it, and then turns out that
No, he's nailed that character. He's Partridge the Partridge.
right. Because
Anyway.
actually, it turns out that he's just he's a noble descent, loves fox hunting, and
No, but I think he was one of those guys who went to those like high tier comedy unis and kind
oh
of came
right,
out with a character. I think.
okay,
Anyway.
cool. Speaking of comedy, BBC today we find out that it's going to get dragged to a court because
Oops.
because it's Harry Potter's fault really because they were going to make a TV mockumentary. I don't know what is it, a docudrama.
A rock star documentary? Oh.
Yeah, Rockstar-umentary about Rockstar and how they made, I believe, their first GTA, right? I think that's how I understood.
Yeah,
It's about
that's,
the way
I
back
think
GTA.
after that, people were like, "Oh, GTA's here, whatever," because it was so. Well, I don't know if it was so different because there have been violent games around the time, and there was, Mortal Kombat was out already and stuff. But I think I don't know. Well, it was definitely like, well, it being on PC is quite important in a way. I think. But anyway, yeah. So that it's also about though. It's not just them. It's also the whole Jack Thompson thing. I believe.
Yeah. So Jack Thompson is the solicitor dude, right?
Yeah, the Bard.
The bad guy.
Disbard, is that so? Yeah, the bad guy.
Yeah. So the good guy is played by Radcliffe, and the bad guy is played by the dude who plays Hudson in Aliens.
Which is fucking awesome. Does he say game over?
Because it would make sense, right?
I bet someone else has already thought of that joke, but for me, that was the revelation.
I was hoping that one of us would say that. I mean, I had it ready in case you didn't, but I mean, you did your job.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, but Rockstar now. Take-Two is upset. Rockstar isn't going to say anything because they were not consulted apparently, and then they emailed BBC and they're like, "Hey, do you want us to consult you or consult with us or whatever?" And BBC ignored them, and then now they're upset. But it's funny. Well, BBC didn't comment on it. They said they do not comment on legal matters, and
They don't negotiate with the Scottish people.
in this case, I guess they don't negotiate with Americans because I don't think there's anything Scottish left there. Is there? Take-Two itself isn't.
This is the publisher, not Rockstar.
Yeah, no. The Rockstar is owned by Take-Two. So is 2K,
Right.
by the way, who is like the XCOM people, is also the subsidiary of Take-Two. So Take-Two
So
is
it's
the big,
Take-Two, then 2K.
the
Right,
big,
okay.
big, big daddy. But by the way, because they also make BioShock series. So anyway, so
This is good.
that also makes sense.
I didn't say it, so you had to go. All right, I'll say it.
Excellent. There was a similar case apparently, which is interesting. I didn't know about this. Where someone was trying to make a documentary about Jimi Hendrix, and they got also sued. So it was also
Really?
docudrama. And the way that got resolved is they couldn't forbid them to make that drama, but they forbade them to use music of Jimi Hendrix.
Thus killing the documentary.
Sort of, but I think they still made it. This is what I've read in the Eurogamer article, so I'm not sure exactly because I've never seen this film. But it's interesting if that's what's going to happen to come out of this one, because then it'd be like, oh, by the way, GTA blah blah, we can't show it.
Yeah. This is. Oh man, I love the idea of big like black porn bars over screens and Jack Thompson pointing at them, going, "That's disgusting. Why would anyone do this?"
Yeah, it's just also just having Harry Potter and Hudson in the same movie would kind of be cool, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's,
I want the Conservative government to shut down the BBC. Wait, no, the opposite. To shut down Rockstar so the BBC can make this, so that I can have them both in a scene.
GTA gets banned as a result. BBC reigns supreme.
Harry Potter gets banned in mix-up.
That's a great, amazing headline. Imagine that, waking up to that. Speaking of amazing headlines,
Yeah.
there's new developments with the DD game, the Dimension Drive.
Oh yeah. We were
Trying
talking about
to-
this last week.
Yeah, so there we go. They're back from the dead.
They're back.
Yeah.
So the thing that struck me most, so I'm looking now at their Kickstarter page, their second turn Kickstarter page. They're currently at 21,000 euros of 30,000 euros, same original pledge level, which obviously we joked about this earlier in the week that it'd be hilarious if they came back with just a
23.
higher goal because they knew they could make it. But they smartly didn't do that. But on this, at the beginning of the project, obviously there's a lot of them talking about what happened with the first time round and why it didn't work. And it's got headlines from
I saw that,
Kotaku, Polygon, etc. There's a pretty funny one. Yeah, the Polygon one's funny. It goes, how a perfect troll got through Kickstarter's defense and sunk a games campaign. Now, I take exception to perfect troll. I don't think that Jonathan is a perfect troll. Anyway, the thing that's... Sorry, carry on.
I'll say I'm still kind of a bit upset that they're calling this guy a troll. He helped them out. They were gonna fail, and no one's gonna ever. This game wouldn't be been made, and no one's gonna ever know about this. And because whoever Jonathan was, because he trolled them, they are now back, and they're probably gonna make their goal. They should rename the game, call it Jonathan Dimension. Is what I think. It'll be only fair. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, you know what it should be? It should be, you got the two dimensions, like you got the left one and the right one.
Yeah.
Well, you should call the left one, and then the right one Jonathan.
Press whatever key, press E to move from the left one to Jonathan.
We can't get through. We have to go to Jonathan. So the thing that struck me the most about this, this is about all I really looked into it, so I'll certainly hand over to you after I say this. But there's this image on the Kickstarter, and it's this black and white image line art with the main character pointing defiantly, and behind them is a whole bunch of presumably gamers holding placards.
Yeah.
And one says Jack's back, one says #LoveDrive, and anyway, right in the bottom corner it says, "You don't mess with gamers."
Yeah,
Fucking embarrassing.
It is embarrassing, and I was like, "Oh, are we slowly turning into some kind of Gamergate game or something?" Like I was joking last time how she looks similar to that shoeless woman.
Oh yeah. What's the face? Did you send me that picture of that guy with the baby version in a little baby?
Yeah,
thing
and he
here?
looks like sort of adamant. Yeah. Or desperate, rather.
Anyway,
Yeah.
you could get hold of that image.
I don't know where to find it now. I'll put it in the next show. We'll start with that.
You'll be able
It's
to-
going to be sort of our logo.
You'll be able to find it from those search terms. But yeah, the idea of galvanizing support because somebody messed with gamers is a very early
Idiotic.
90s idea from like when we were like idiot kids, and this kind of doesn't exist anymore. So I always find it really embarrassing when someone says something like that. I don't know, it's almost like saying, I demand to have hot running water in my home. You're like, yeah, don't worry, you got it. Shut up, fucking idiot. I mean, obviously that doesn't count for like places that actually have that as a problem, but we're talking about people who have access to games, so...
Don't mess with British citizens.
Don't mess with British citizens. They like tea?
Yeah, they like running water, and they've had it for years.
Literally
Yeah.
decades. So yeah, it's just... I saw that and I was like, before I was like, oh, if this was near the end and they just need a little help, I'll give them a little bit more money. But I see that image and I'm like, I am going to watch from the sidelines as they pass and feel self-satisfied. I'm going to have nothing to do with this.
Because I guess you just don't want to mess with gamers. They still have the 7,000 tier. And it's unfair. I mean, where is Jonathan? Why is that?
God, let's make an account called Jonathan. Back at $2,000. And be like, oh, maybe I'll upgrade if it gets close. Everyone's going,
No.
oh, man.
Anyway, it's going to be funny how this develops. They have 21,000 currently pledged in 3 days, which is almost what they had in 30 days last time.
Yeah,
So I
they're
guess
going to make it.
Yeah, they're probably going to make it. And and then we'll see in December 2015 what kind of, obviously not December, this is the projected date, so in March 2016 what kind of game they made. So
That's optimistic.
I know. I mean, I'm trying to stay positive here.
Yeah.
So that's our Jonathan Drive, the game.
We gotta get to Jonathan. Subtitle.
And then what's his name? Bill Paxton appears and says, "Game over, Jonathan. Game over." Speaking of game over, H1Z1, your favorite topic this week. Take it away, Ed. Tell us all about it. What happened?
Oh, may I? Oh, it's amazing. So, the name of the guy, John Smedley, is the CEO of Daybreak Games, and that's their. Am I right in thinking that they were actually put together to make H1Z1, and that's why they're called Daybreak Games, or is that just nonsense?
There used to be Sony Entertainment Online, or CO,
Okay.
got bought by some investment dudes, and they renamed it to Daybreak, or Daybreak Studios, or something like that.
It seems somewhat focused around H1Z1. Yeah. Anyway, so their thing at the moment, and certainly for the next while, is making the main kind of DayZ-alike H1Z1. So it's this Sony-based game. Is it on PC as well?
Yeah, it is. It's only. Wait, is it only on PC right now? I think it's only on PC currently.
Would it not be PS4 as well? It was Sony. Anyway,
it's not there yet. Maybe I think I don't know that much about
it's early
consoles.
access, right?
It's early access Steam. Yeah.
Yeah. So details, whatever. So this is zombie survival, shoot other humans type thing. Standard fare. You probably know the format. And I'm just looking at John Smedley's Twitter, which is relevant. It's John Smedley, president of Daybreak Games, is relevant. And also, by the way, what it says just under his name is President, Daybreak Game Company, opinions expressed are my own and don't represent Daybreak Games. And I feel that at some point, the president probably should represent the opinions of the company. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What was happening is the game, much like a lot of other games, was riddled with hackers and filth, right? So there were lots of instances of people using aimbots, and in particular, it seems people have been nailed for using a tool called ESP. So ESP is like some acronym reference to like having the ability to see minds and psychic stuff, and
Ghosts
basically
and shit, yeah.
So what you actually get if you install this hack into your game is you get to see people's names, locations of guns and drops and things, and so you know much more about the environment and situation before other people do. And it's a horrible cheat, and they're usually kind of made for. I think lots of FPSs have variations on ESP, and they're all called ESP, right?
I think. Well, I've seen the same thing. I've seen videos of the same thing in DayZ. And it was exactly the same
I guess
thing.
that's the same information I have. It's exactly the same. I think it's also called ESP. So they basically somehow figured out everyone who was using this, banned 25,000 players over the course of a couple of days.
I think so.
Who were using this, and they were just like instantly gone over the course of this time. And people were like, "Whoa, okay," because it's nice. It's really nice when a company takes hacking and cheating seriously, and I guess they'd gotten used to this not being the case. And it sounds also like there were a lot of people cheating. So getting to the meat of the situation was John Smedley, having made these moves, banning all these people, tweets. And he says, I want to see if I can get the quote, but if not, I'll just skip to it. It starts, we've banned 7,000 ESP hackers in the last few days. If we ban 30K, so they ban all these people. And then he says, if you post a YouTube public apology for cheating with ESP, I will unban you or something like that, something to that effect. And a few people made some videos. You want to take over, Andrew?
Yeah. So there's, I think he said that 5 people as a result. You can see one of them right now on the screen. There's 4 videos cycling through, or they should be anyway, unless something went horribly wrong. So this 5 of them made it through. They got unbanned. They made videos where they're saying how sorry they are, and many of them are justifying actually using the ESP by saying that everyone else was doing it. That was the only way to win. And there's a lot of people just hating them in the comments below.
Yeah, every single one has a like-dislike ratio that's just like.
Yeah, exactly. There's some people who are like, well, I guess it takes balls to admit that you're wrong or whatever. No, they were just wanting to. They were like, the amnesty was announced and they just applied. You know, he was part of the system. It's not like he was like, yeah, I know I fucked up. I'm gonna kill myself. It wasn't like that. It was just like, hey, I want to get back in. I spent money on this. And only 5 of them apparently made in, but one of them was supposed to be revoked because he apologized, made the
he made his video
private.
Yeah, he made his video private.
He made his video private, and they banned him again. Even the ones even the ones that are here, they're not very sincere. At least it's like 2 out of 4 at least. So they're like, well, I lost money.
One of them seemed somewhat sincere, although that was one of the ones that was like, I cheated because everyone was cheating and I was tired. But when he actually got to the apology part, I was like, all right, I kind of accept that a bit. But like a lot of them, the first one I saw was the guy with the kind of big face. Was like, it really sucks, and I'm sorry because I lost $260 on this account. I'm like, no, that's not why you're sorry.
That's not how sorry works.
You're sorry because you ruined the game for everybody else. If you say you're sorry because you lost money, you're a scumbag, and you should remain banned.
Yeah, and the funny bit was that there were people also who were too late. Because there was a deadline. Because I think he just got it inundated with all these videos, and he was like, okay, it's until like 1 p.m. or something PST. Yeah. But obviously not everyone got the memo. So there's people who made the videos afterwards, and you can find them in suggested videos when you watch the ones that got unbanned. And there's people in the comments. There's people going like, too late. So
this gives me energy. I feed off this kind of deserved misery. What's great about it is there's no like, but this is a difficult situation. In that position you would no, it's just cheaters getting shit.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, and it must feel so good being John Smedley right now, because this move he's made is such an amazing move. It's like it's a complete win-win. Like even if he unbans everybody, like this is such a slap in the face for all these idiots who are just unthinking fools, and it's amazing.
And he also, interestingly, he also spoke against the website, which is pretty famous apparently, that makes this thing and makes it available to people. And as far as I know, they often sell it. They sell it. Yeah, it's not free. I guess you can pirate the ESP or whatever, but as far as I know,
in a way, I'm totally down with that.
Yeah. So, but they do sell, and then he was like, we need to like end this and ban this website or whatever, get rid of the websites because they're like ruining shit for everybody, which is true. Yeah. They are. I haven't played that much H1Z1, so I've never seen a cheater there or someone. There were cases where like, how did I get killed? But I mean, you never know, right? But I've definitely seen cheaters in DayZ. Like I've seen in front of my eyes, there were invisible people. There was guys who were like moving at like the Flash, from the comics. Like they were just like all over the place. There's crazy shit like that happening, and I've definitely seen that. And I think they were using pretty much some other version of the same software. So,
we've seen that in Battle Royale as well, right? Well, obvious ones where like when lightning bolts and slides are appearing.
That guy was actually just having fun. He wasn't playing the game. He was.
Yeah. There's many different kinds of hacking, cheating.
Yeah. In that case, I don't.
We snaked around in some Battle Royale games.
Well, we don't use any software. I think that's...
that's an exploit rather than a cheat. And if we were in some competitive setting, I don't think we'd do it. But it was still kind of scummy. But compared to this, it's like bananas.
No, yeah. I mean, that's like just like jumping a lot in a game or something like that. Snaking isn't like the people do it in H1Z1 when they turn the corner, they jump so that which is like, and it can jump very high, so you can sort of spam jumping, and it's hard to hit you or whatever. The snaking, snaking's a bit like that. Yeah,
this is all available to the players. You should patch this thing rather than punish people.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something
thing in the system you've given them to play with.
Yeah, it's not something we introduced or someone else introduced. It's part of the bunny hop thing, as far as I know, because they put the bunny hop in there. They wanted to have it, so they have it now. Which is when you run and you can, instead of stopping and walking over something, you jump over it, and I think that's a side effect of that. But yeah. So anyway, coming back to ESP stuff, I guess anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to mention that earlier, before we started the actual thing, we were talking about this a little bit, and I like that you banned that dude. Yeah. We were talking about this a bit, and something we were discussing was what other ways you could punish cheaters without banning them, which we kind of found exciting. And I thought one thing would be great is everyone has to make the video, it gets verified, they get unbanned, but then they get a big cheating sign like above their head, which will never go away, and people will always see it forever. And also, they had the option to make that go away, but they had to pay $5 a day.
Excellent. I think it's beautiful. You can even...
and the final thing was, as an extension of that, the money that they're paying to have this thing go away goes to the people on the server that they're on to pay for their copy of the game. And so if people find out that this person's on a server, everybody logs in and tries to kill them.
Excellent. And if you kill them, maybe additional points or whatever, additional money that goes your way. They could even have a song playing. Like, if you get near them, they're like, they must be whistling a song, and it's like, we're sorry, so Liberal Democrats are sorry.
Someone needs to auto-tune one of these punks.
Yeah, that'd be great. I wouldn't be surprised if like one of them becomes a meme or something like that. I mean, you know, it could happen. Especially this guy. Look at him. He's really trying hard. Speaking of trying hard, our next topic is. Oh wait, no, that's not our topic. Our topic is this one. It's about trying to fit in. It's trying to.
Oh. Talking about the video game industry uniform.
Yeah, belonging to the group of video gamer, proud tribe of gamers. So there was an article on Guardian.
Yeah.
Where a lady who works in development somewhere in some company shared her views of how people dress when they go to different video game events. I think this is mostly. Not like events like EGX or something like that, but like developer events or something, or parties.
Proper,
yeah.
like GDC and stuff.
Yeah, like professional stuff as opposed to consumer stuff. And her observations were that, you know, people actually have a uniform. And it's well, unlike the corporate uniform, for example, where it's like a suit and a tie. Here it's a plaid shirt and denim. Yeah. And this picture you see, this is...
That's the 2K one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a joke one where 2K... I'm not connected to the...
Yeah, because this was before the article,
right? I think like a couple of them probably were dressing like that, and then they sort of, to make fun of them or whatever, everyone came dressed like that, something like that, to the office.
Yeah.
But it was used in the article, so hence you see it here. And then it did like a lot of rounds around Twitter about, you know, the article, and then people started making joke images about like what should be the uniform for video games, and there's some crazy stuff.
I haven't seen these.
Yeah, there's like some dogs. Oh, there's the one where the dog is wearing a giant LED screen that says "I'm lost." It's apparently
what?
Yeah,
okay.
It's apparently a product if your dog gets lost, like like you can trigger this, and then it says like "I'm lost," and then someone will bring it back to you or something like that. And they're suggesting this as the uniform for video game industry. I'm not sure it caught on that much.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, but it could work. Yeah, I think. So, what do you think? Is there a uniform in video games? Do you feel that way?
Well, I think the point of the article isn't really about clothing at all. This is what I gathered after reading it like twice and giving it a bit of time. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't have given it much time unless it was on the docket for the episode. But I was like, all right, when I actually have my head around this, and I've decided that it's not an amazing article, but the point is that it's like professional video game industry is pretty homogenous, and it's kind of 20s, 30s white dudes who didn't want to get a corporate job, and there's that thing where you go, oh, I get a media job, get to wear what I want, but the irony is that everyone's kind of the same kind of person in the video games industry, unlike maybe some other creative industries, and thus it looks like they have a uniform, and it's kind of a joke. Unfortunately, because maybe it was kind of written almost, I don't want to fully say clickbait, but it's a little baity, to be like, yeah, you're just wearing denim and plaid, that a lot of people's reactions was like, what's wrong with plaid? Which is also, I think the wrong response to the article. And what I most want to do is avoid that thing where, you know, the that article, Gamers Are Dead, and then before that, The author is dead, and people responding to that going, no, I wrote something just now, I'm not dead, therefore, you know, and not really getting it. But at the same time, I do feel that anyone misunderstanding it may be foolish, but it's also not quite well enough articulated that it's about a homogenous workforce in video games professionally, I think.
I agree because the title of the article was "Video Games Industry Has a Uniform and It's Plaid and Denim." That was the headline. So I guess
Yeah,
the specific attire was mentioned in the headline, so hence people went like, "Oh, so you actually are talking about this." I think it was kind of both. It was the article talked about the general homogeneity of the industry because she also talked about like how few women there are, and even those that are there usually avoid parties sometimes because like it's kind of a drag to go there and everyone's just a white dude in denim. So. But yeah, it did mention both. It did mention clothes because she also was going on about like how she wants to
I'm
wear her
actually wearing
dresses.
corduroy today. It's like one of the rare days I'm not wearing denim.
Excellent. You are a true symbol of diversity, Ed. Well, we should carry you as a banner, as a human banner.
You know what? I want my bronze statue to
Yeah.
be me, just
Yeah.
going, what?
Excellent.
Please go on.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I kind of said what I was saying. So I was going to say that it was kind of both things. It was about the diversity, and it was about just also what people wear. But it did cause a couple of ripples. But it happens. There isn't.
It's sort of its conclusion was kind of you should wear what you want, and it was almost like
Why did I write this?
her having to learn that it was okay for her to wear what she wanted,
Yeah.
but being, I guess, annoyed that if she did that, she would get some funny looks, and people may not acknowledge that there is that kind of undercurrent of, oh, why is this person looking like this? But without really consciously understanding that there's the uniform, but actually it's just the uniformity of the workforce.
Yeah, exactly. Comment section here. Odok says that he's seen me wearing similar stuff. I don't wear denim, so there. Who's laughing now, Odog? It has to be both.
True, actually. I don't think you don't wear denim.
I don't. I used to wear denim, and now I don't wear denim anymore. It's after what happened.
Well, you're safe from this article then. Jokes on you, Holly Nielsen. I'm sorry for all the tweets you've been receiving.
Maybe we're both just symbols of diversity, and not only you. Maybe I can find my role as a symbol of diversity as well.
Oh,
I mean, I could shave my
when
beard.
we have a company page, it should say, "We celebrate diversity." For example, Andrew never wears
Where's
denim.
denim? Yeah, I think that's great. I'm gonna do that.
Have Claudio in the background just shrunk artificially very slightly. Oh God, I'm a horrible person.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Speaking of horrible things, here's a 11-second Doom trailer.
Oh, you are being very generous.
You don't think it's 11
11
seconds?
seconds.
Well, the
It's
video
11
is 11 seconds. The footage is 3. Speaking of silver
This,
linings,
Ooh.
yeah, the Fork Parker interaction with is his nickname pronounced Swery?
Sweary, yeah,
Sweary, yeah.
Sweary 65.
Yeah, whose full
So,
name
um,
is which I didn't manage to remember. It's Hidetaka Suehiro, the guy who made Deadly Premonition most famously. It's not the only game he's made, obviously, but
Yeah.
that's one he's famous for.
Yeah.
Do you have that thing open? Can you read that, or did you? I can read that actually.
What, the exchange on Twitter?
Actually, he wanted the game he wants to make. Let me see. Maybe I have
Yeah.
it open here.
I've got it right here.
You
I've
got
got
it.
it right
All
here.
right. Yeah, go for it.
So this appears to be a section from, this is a quote from an article, just from looking at the context. And this is quoted in a Fort Parker tweet. This is Swery talking. He says, "Aside from that, I'm also working on a story about a high school girl detective who uses the imagination, fantasizing, in brackets, energy from masturbating to help her solve murders. But all the publishers keep telling me, there's no way we could put out such a perverted game. Lol. I wish someone would let me make it." So obviously the first reaction is, he's going to Japanese publishers, isn't he?
Probably, I guess.
So that's kind of funny as well, because I had this feeling like if there was something of I don't want to say equal grossness because it's not gross by the way, but it's just like risky, I guess, risque or whatever. But it's a little bit hypocritical because there's all kinds of stuff that gets published by the kind of people who publish games by Swery and other people who have access to the same publishers. But I have this suspicion that because it would be a girl masturbating, that they'd be like, no, no, no. But also, you go an extra layer and you go, this is being created by an old dude who would like to make a game about a girl having a wank. And you're like, hmm. But anyway, I actually really love Swery and his games because of how like busted and funny and strange they are. They're like they don't play very well, but they are extremely funny and kind of charming. And I'm totally down for this being made. And what's great about this piece of news is it seems that, fingers crossed, but it seems like Fork Parker saw this tweet, was like, I published a game about pigeons having some kind of sex or something. I'm just gonna up my game and get Swery on board and just steal as Japan's most creative person and have them make this game that they want to make because it'll be funny and Fork Parker and Devolver can do no wrong.
Excellent. You've played Deadly Premonition?
No. I've actually just seen a ton of playthroughs, I have to admit.
Right.
I know Simon's played through it, but like I'm really familiar with it 'cause I've seen the whole way through, and I've seen a playthrough of D4. It was like Dark Dreams Don't Die or something, I believe is the name. I've seen these in the context of the Super Best. No, well, their podcast is called the Super Best Friend Cast, but it's two best friends play as basically you probably have heard of them,
Yeah.
YouTuber Let's Players, and one of the things that they do a lot of is they'll get a hold of any sweary material they can, and I think it's usually the best stuff they do just because it kind of matches their humor quite well. Anyway, it's always really fun to watch, and I kind of, as a result, I'm always like, oh, sweary, I hope you get to do what you want to do, even though the game's kind of on a technical level are kind of shitty.
Yeah, I attempted to watch Deadly Premonition. I've never played any of his stuff. Deadly Premonition is, by the way, now on PC as well. So technically you could play it. I think the D4, which is his latest game, is not. But it has a pretty wonky plot. I just looked at the plot.
Yeah,
it's time travel.
It's pretty odd. It's kind of like time. What is it? Time travel. The guy has some kind of powers. I don't even remember. It was a while ago.
And it's like his wife dies or something, and he
Yes.
does time travel to help her masturbate or something like that. One of those. And there's
He's kind of. I think he's retroactively solving the murder of his wife.
Yeah, something like that. And there's a U.S. Marshal involved, and he's also masturbating. And then this also
Everyone's
then like he finds the Marshal playing Deadly Premonition in D4, and he is masturbating while he's playing Deadly Premonition. So, but I've never seen obviously D4. I've seen some footage of Deadly Premonition. It looked very strange.
It's a huge Twin Peaks ripoff, pretty much.
Yeah. And but gameplay wise, is it like a
it looks awful.
style?
There's some combat in it, but it was made very, very easy in a patch because the guy, Swery, actually didn't want to have really almost any combat in it. He just wanted it to be walking around, talking, and plot and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think originally the publishers were like, no, there needs to be a game, which means shooting guns. So the original version had a kind of crappy, difficult gunfiring section, and then in the kind of re-release and remasterings, it was just easier because he was like, "Fuck, this is terrible." There is some gunplay in it, but it's terrible. It really is just about the story and the wacky characters and the situation and stuff.
I've also heard people saying like, "Oh, you need to play this, to be a person of games, sort of like this is a formative experience. Like it's one of those." What's the word for it? Seminal works.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really funny and sweet, and I could see how some people would love it, and some people would just be like, "I don't get this. This is stupid." So I wouldn't say that you need to play it to be a gamer.
Yeah.
Don't
God! Don't mess with gamers.
Watch out! There should be some screen shake whenever anyone says like, "I messed with a gamer."
Or maybe we just say gamers and the screen shake just automatically. You don't even have to watch out or whatever. Just gamers.
Air horn goes off.
Yeah.
Gamers. So anyway, I wouldn't say it's required playing, but it is really fun, and it's nice to see. And I guess this happens more in Japan, although less recently because Kojima's dead. But nice to see a creator be
Newsflash.
yeah, a creator be given control over a project. Like that seems so obvious, but it's actually quite rare now. Just somebody with a vision doing a thing, and the vision may be goofy or whatever, but they're doing a thing and they execute the thing, and then some people like it and some people hate it, as with all things. But at least it's its own thing.
Yeah. Funny you should mention that because that's another thing I read about Deadly Premonition was that it's very polarizes people a lot. So you either hate or you love it. So the reviews go usually to like 2 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, and no one really gives it 7, which is the middle of between from 1 to 10 is 7, obviously.
You're so right.
Yeah. So, but and then that's apparently used often somewhere, a citation needed, as like, games as art kind of thing. So Deadly Premonition is sort of as divisive as a good piece of art could be.
Well, I tell you what,
that.
it doesn't look like a piece made for economic gain. I'll say that.
Excellent. I wonder if he made much economic gain from. I guess he did because he has a cult status or whatever. So
Yeah, I think you can
bet.
have a cult status without having much money, though.
Yeah, if you did the wrong things, probably, I don't know. If you forget to like file for your copyright or something, I don't know, like trademark, then yeah. So or by accident you press the wrong button and release it into the like public domain, and it gets really popular. And you go like, shit.
Shit, no! You never
Ah,
have given that to
yeah.
that camera. Now everyone's arguing about its human rights. I just want to make money off this picture it did.
Nice. I have to work as a fry cook again, says Swery. Speaking of fry cooks, MAME is in public domain.
An excellent segue. Segue.
Sigwu.
So MAME, I don't know if everybody watching knows MAME, so I'll give it a little bit of an introduction. Basically, you know what an emulator is. Well, MAME is an emulator for arcade machines and kind of all arcade machines. This project's been going on since '97, and I believe it was kind of put together and released under a kind of modified BSD license. Let me see if I can find the exact article. I got this off Boing Boing.
Yeah, it's like BSD3 or something like that.
Yeah, so it was the problem with the license was it was you couldn't make money off it, which is fine actually because you think about it, someone makes an emulator and then you can make money off it. You're kind of screwing game developers, but mostly this is about arcades that will go away because I mean, how many arcades do you know in your area? In the UK, certainly there's like 4, in the entire place. And these things will go away. People won't have even the opportunity to put money into them, and it's a part of culture and history, and that can't go away. But when you have a museum that charges entry, technically by that license, MAME couldn't be used in it because they'd be making money off it. So you have situations like that. I mean, I think practically what really happens is that people use MAME to play arcade games at home for free.
Yeah.
But I also think, if there's no opportunity for anyone to be paid for that, paid back for the games, like it's better that the game exists. And also, a lot of the people who go to the trouble of getting MAME and playing these would probably be quite happy to pay the original creators or already owned the games or whatever, or had enough money pumped into those experiences that it kind of doesn't matter. But anyway, what's happening now is that MAME are modifying their license so that situations like the one I described with the museum could potentially be totally fine. So you could have like your classic gaming museum, charged entry to keep it open, and you have all these like old arcades going, oh look, this is Thriller from wherever. It's great that the GIF works on OBS, by the way. And here's a Third Strike cabinet, and let's be real, that thing will never be left alone. So that's really cool, and MAME is something I've been wanting to look into for a while, have a little MAME box around my house, so when we're all doing deving and whatever, we can play some of these shitty old games, play some Rampage, play some Third Strike, that'd be really fun. So it's great news.
Oh, so what? Because essentially I found out about MAME because it was on the docket. So what does it emulate on a PC, or does it? So you say, for example, MAMEbox. So tell us, what is a MAMEbox?
Okay, so as far as platforms go, it works on Windows, Mac, and Linux, which is quite rare for gaming stuff. But yes, a MAME box is essentially a computer that's dedicated to running MAME, and very often these will be set up in kind of either proper super duper arcade cabinets with their CRT or kind of more hacked together setups. But actually, quite a lot of them will end up having CRTs because the art of the time in these old arcade machines were kind of designed with the technological limitations of a CRT in mind, and actually look better with the dodgy scan lines and whatever, and at that resolution. And so it is a thing that a lot of fighting game people and classic arcade people do as as a part-time project, is they'll get a Raspberry Pi or a Arduino or whatever little chipboard and get MAME installed on there, hook it up to controllers and a screen and stuff, and do their own thing. And I think some barcades probably do this, and I imagine a lot of little like games museum things do this. And that's the idea anyway. You kind of turn either an old PC that's not in use anymore or a specialized unit that you build that's kind of small into a dedicated arcade machine, and you kind of keep these pieces of human history, arguably some of the best pieces of human history and culture, alive, which is lovely.
So but essentially, it's sort of cheaper, right? That's the whole point, because you don't have to rebuild the machine, the arcade.
The price of like an arcade machine is numbers in like the thousands of pounds.
But if it's a MAME machine, then it would be.
But if it's a MAME machine, you can make it for a couple of £100 or less, depending on your limitations. Yeah. Yes, if you want to make an arcade machine in your house, this is how you will do it. There is no other way.
So unless you're just buying the machine that is preserved somewhere, and you pay like £10,000.
Yeah, and then you've got to have like quarters hacking and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or you could just have quarter or whatever. What did they use in UK?
Well, I know when I was in New York last time, there's a barcade, and I think they're proper like original arcade machines, and all they did was you just shove quarters into them still. But also, I think some places who still use these machines, they just have a thing where they've modified it. You can push it, and the quarters inside just come out, and you just use them again.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, cool. Now, I've been to non-barcade, just like an actual arcade with modern arcade machine, modern whatever quotation mark arcade machine. Yeah. But and it was just quarters in America. This is back in whatever 2003, 2004. But you just shove quarters, and it's just a regular thing. What coin did they use in UK? Was that 20p or something, or was it 10p?
I think some of them are using pounds.
Oh,
you know what? There's a fucking fraudulent Tekken 3 machine in Gatwick which takes money and it doesn't let you play. And because you're obviously just passing through, there's no time to complain to anyone or anything. So this machine is just racking up money, and no one's in any position to complain about it. I'm fucking furious. And it's one of those ones that has green blood when you punch. Fuck that machine. It's the worst.
There's some archaic machine around Heathrow Terminal 4, I think. I forgot what it was.
You should make a blog called like Arcade Machines in Obscure Locations that suck.
I hope it exists already. I don't want to do the work. So, it's one more thing I wanted to ask about the whole MAME thing, and I forgot what. Oh, what about the copyright? So how does that work? Because obviously,
I'm really unsure about that.
Right.
It seems really shaky to me. Like, I think it's literally the fact that in most cases the people don't exist anymore. Like the companies don't exist anymore to take it down, and in other cases, it's like it's I think legally MAME themselves making arcade emulators are safe, and it's more ROM distribution is the shaky part, but that it technically has nothing to do with MAME. But I actually have no real idea, but I think that they must be in some legally safe place to be able to make, press conferences. Well, I guess not press conferences.
Yeah, because they are
like
a company. Like they're not like some rogue pirates from somewhere.
They're like a proper non-profit, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So this, they have an address and everything. If someone wanted to take them to court, they'd probably do it by now. Yeah. But there's a similar thing on the archive.org or archive.com, where the Internet Archive, because they have games now. Briefly, they were available as tweets. And then Twitter was like, no, and they banned it. But for like a day, you could tweet a game from 80s at someone and be like, hey, this reminds me of your face, and it's Pitfall.
It's brutal.
Love ya, bye. So yeah, I mean, if that exists and they have no problem, sort of, because they're emulating a lot of famous stuff as well. I mean, there's tons of stuff there. Some of them is kind of hard to play because unclear. Like I loaded up some stuff and I was like, I had no idea where to begin and where to end and what the hell was going on in terms of like what is this game to begin with? Because I would assume if when it was in an arcade, there was like some kind of instruction somewhere on the machine itself or like something like that, and sometimes it was absent. And also just using the keyboard, and it can be awkward, well, like because it's unclear exactly what you're meant to do.
Some of these things would obviously have quite specialized hardware, and so some of the games are, unless you go to town, are kind of lost in a way the experience, because you'd have to figure out how to replicate a gun with a slide and a laser and air blowing in your face and a steering wheel that rocks your chair or whatever. But
steering wheel that rocks your chair, my new band. But yeah, so coming back to the copyright, since they're not getting a problem, so I assume, I don't know, maybe it's just abandonware, like whatever that means nowadays. It's just abandoned and it's aware.
I really have no idea. I really have no idea. It seems slightly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder at what point, because obviously there's the case with like films and music and stuff after a certain point, and maybe it applies to games as well, that this is public domain now, it's been this long, the original person's been dead for this long or whatever.
That can't be with games though. There's like 70 years or plus or something like that nowadays.
Right. So you'd think, okay, we're not going to get any fucking games until way later, but
here they are.
It's somehow available. It reminds me of that time way back in, must have been like 95, 94. My friend hands me this CD, and I'm like, what is this? And he says, it's everything. And I'm like, what? And he says, go home and put this in your computer. And it was like an emulator with the complete set of games for like 10 different consoles. And I don't know, it was like discovering wanking. It was amazing. I was just like, every day I'd come home and play 10 new games for like a whole month. It was the best thing ever. And that's why I think emulators are great.
This is essentially the post-Soviet experience, but with the pirated games, because you could get a CD of 50 games, and they were...
that's amazing.
And they were rips, because all the videos were removed, all the audio was essentially removed.
It was like proper cut
just the mechanics,
the most amount through.
Yeah, exactly. So I had a couple of CDs that had just, like, it was a list. Like, the back of the CD was a list of games, and the total value of this, if they were to be properly published and whatever, could be up to like, I don't know, $500 probably.
Yeah.
I got the entire thing for $3. And like that's how I got to know, because you can buy original games at all. So that's how I got to know, like, oh look, all this shit exists. My first Fallout copy was pirated as shit. It was in Russian. So yeah, it's intense. But again, in a place where you can't buy it legally, it's good that you can have access some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's no structure to sell it. I guess if those things would ever make money, people would step in and be like, oh, by the way, our copyright. But since they're like a niche art thing almost, no one gives a shit. It's just like, yeah, whatever. You nerds want to play with old games that I own, fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, our stance is like, if you can pay the creator, do pay the creator. Like, don't be a scumbag, don't be a cheater like these idiots on H1Z1. But also, by the same token, if there's no way provided to you to experience this like piece of culture, make your own way or use the way that's not technically legal, because fuck it. It's better than it going missing and you not experiencing it. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm super happy that this is happening with MAME.
Cool. Excellent. We have some time left over, and there was a thing about the animation stuff that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah. So there was this article that came out, also slightly clickbaity title, called "A Pixel Artist Renounces Pixel Art," which is, once you read the article, of course, slightly strong. That's not really what the guy's saying. But what's cool about it is it does have a really good breakdown of kind of the properties of pixel art, a little bit of the history of it, and kind of how you and also kind of problems involved, pros and cons and things. And it has like really nice side-by-side breakdowns and comparisons. So it's actually a really, really good article once you get to the guts of it. But I kind of disagree with its conclusion. Hopefully, maybe in the description we put a link so people can have a look. 'Cause it's quite a long article. It's quite involved. I definitely recommend people read it. So basically, this guy was making this game, spent loads and loads of time and resources making this quite beautiful pixel art, and then discovered
the game?
The game. What is the name of the game?
Is Auro?
Auro.
Auro?
Auro.
You tell me.
It's been released for iOS and Android. And the art on it, there's a couple of screenshots, but it's actually super impressive for pixel art. It's like, yeah, it's almost medium breakingly good. It's the kind of thing you think, and this is kind of key, you think would have been made in a different way to pixel art, and possibly should have been made in a different way to pixel art. And the reason I say this is the screenshot all the way at the bottom of the article. This is a little bit difficult for me to describe, obviously, because you're not seeing it, but it's a screenshot of the game, and you're seeing all kinds of elements on there. And the takeaway I'm getting from it is that there's so much detail that there's no point to it being in pixel art. And I think what was happening is the comments that they were getting back on their game is that it looked a bit kind of lo-fi and non kind of HD, a little bit like bugged up and compressed. And I suppose to people who are not kind of familiar with announced pixel art, they'd be forgiven for thinking this. It almost looks like if your operating system fucks up and then sets you to like a lower color depth, if you know what I mean, and you see banding everywhere, because there's suddenly limitations on what it can display. But you know that the idea is it's this super like high res thing. Where I think the soul of pixel art is, having done a little bit of it, I'm not super au fait with it, but I've started doing quite a bit of it. I'm starting to get the feel for it. Is explaining a lot with a little, and if you go too crazy with it, if you go too much with it, you stray into this zone where it takes a lot of effort to do what you want, and other systems do it better. And I think the conclusion of this whole article about this pixel art, after all this breakdown, was sometimes it's not worth it, where I think really it's a shame because the article is so intelligent, but the conclusion should be, I should have realized that the game I was making shouldn't have been with pixel art.
Yeah.
And my favorite breakdown in it is there's a side-by-side of Street Fighter Third Strike, Chun-Li throwing a fireball, I can't remember what she calls it, and then in Street Fighter 4, and it just goes through every like element of the animation. You see, like in Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, the sprite is very free and flexible and shows the action lines of the animation cracking like a whip, and the fireball comes out and the clothes spring away and the body warps. And then in Street Fighter 4, she looks kind of dead. And yeah, it just looks kind of dull.
I was actually, I haven't read all of it, but I saw the pictures and I saw the one that you're talking about. I was gonna say there, the bit where in the 2D one was Street Fighter 3, right? So you can't notice these details. They're like maybe on a subconscious level, you kind of aware. But I mean, it looks fine in Street Fighter 4. It's like when you're playing Street Fighter 4, you're not gonna be like, oh my god, Chun-Li, what are you doing? Jesus Christ, girl, get a grip. It's not like that at all. It looks fine.
It looks fine. It doesn't look gross at all.
Yeah.
I think if you wanted to take it to the level of what they've done with the 2D in this case, it's actually a lot more work than if you just moved a couple of pixels around. So what was nice about the example is, one, that the series has lost a little bit of like the kind of absolute cutting edge animation by making this move to 3D. They've actually gained a whole bunch in just the amount that they can put out, and the fact that they're not relying so much on like 2 artists or however many they have.
Yeah, and
I'm sure they had more
cheaper
than that.
To make now, probably. Yeah. The game
it's
itself.
Way cheaper to make, but it's got pros and cons, and I think this lays that out greatly. And also, I'm really hopeful for Street Fighter 5 that to maybe solve some of these issues. Actually, it would be super cool.
Mr. Bison was announced.
You're absolutely right. Like 4 is perfectly acceptable to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Bison was announced for 5.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He has
my Psycho Crusher powers.
Yeah, exactly. Except that he's meant to be American, so you should have said it in American accent. But other than that, you just put spot on.
He's American? Okay.
Yeah,
I believe you.
No, in the lore, he's American.
I, yeah, I don't know that like the thing about Street Fighter that I like is the fighting, the plot not so much. I don't think any fighting game has a good plot. I'm happy to be corrected, but I think it will take some digging.
No, I don't think you do. It goes against the genre. It has to be bad.
In a way,
Yeah.
it does.
Because the fighting authority will not put a stamp on it unless it is horrible. Unless your eyes are vomiting as you are going through the plot, like the story mode, and then only then it's a good fighting game.
Oh boy. My favorite but slash saddest thing about this article is the part where you're looking at the King of Fighters sprite, and it is mind-boggling how this was made, knowing how sprite art is made. At the same time, it almost looks like a 3D model, but it's not. And you think at the same time someone could have achieved something very similar with a 3D model quite easily, and then people have been like, it looks reasonable, and that's kind of what's happening to them, and that's a big part of the article's argument, which is sort of mystifies me as to why when they get to the end their conclusion isn't we should have done this in something else because our resolution was wrong, rather than there's something odd with pixel art. But perhaps that was just my misinterpretation.
Which one is the King of Fighters thing?
King of Fighters is like one of the it's a Japanese fighting game, kind of competitor to Street Fighter in a way. It remains a 2D pixel art system.
Right.
It hasn't made the jump to 3D, but the art is such that it almost looks like it's assisted by 3D rendering, and I can't confirm whether that's the case or not, but it looks like it's mind-boggling. I don't know how I'd even begin to approach making something like that.
Is this the dude with is this the King of Fighters or whatever, the 13, the one with his like shaking his fists around?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, that looks interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if imagine that like you're pushing the pixels around rather than having a 3D model and then simplifying it. That's pretty fucking good.
I don't know. It does feel like it's 3D assisted somehow.
That's what I mean. Maybe it is. If so, then I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
But if that was pushing pixels around, you'd be like, damn.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless they're using like some slave labor or something like that, I don't think that's gonna. It's kind of like the building of the stadiums in what is it, Qatar?
Qatar, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that thing where they were like, for every match, there's 62 people dead,
For real?
who worked for the thing? Yeah.
Jesus.
They have tons of illegal workers in construction, and they are dying like flies, apparently.
So every like minute and a half of game, there should just be a big horn,
Yeah.
and then a picture of the worker shows up on like the main screen, and everyone playing feels kind of horrified.
Yeah. Football. I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Apparently. On that happy note, I think we're done for today.
I believe so.
Video games and then football in the end. I think that's a good mix. Like a bit of death is how we like to end the show. Thank you everyone who watched it. If you watched this on YouTube, then you got all the links that we thought they were appropriate for your age in the description.
Peggy 18.
That was very close. Well done. I was like, where is the trailer playing? So Peggy's in there. Her number is in there. So she's 18. You're gonna give her a call. It's all like was it Rogue
It's all
Breast?
above board.
Rogue
It's
Breast
legit.
legal age.
Rogue Breast
Legal age. Our next game. We're just I'm pitching whatever, trying to market our game and
See what sticks.
yeah, see what sticks. See if you guys kind of react to it, and if you do, then we're just gonna make it. Yeah, that's the deal. Hope you enjoyed it. Next one's gonna be next week. If you want to see this live, it's on Thursdays and 10 p.m. BST,
With UK time, because
Yeah.
it goes back to UTC. You best believe it'll go back an hour, so that it'll still be 10 p.m. for me.
he is correct. I mean, I'd listen to that man. He said the things that were right. Thanks for watching, guys. See you around. Bye.